Let's connect to our Ujjayi breath. And as we do, we can align the crown of head over the sit bones. So as we take these next several deep, luxurious breaths, you can get a sense of the crown being gently expanded away from the sit bones sinking into the earth, expanding away from the skull. And with this tiny move, we're implying, we're suggesting is there a possibility of more openness? You know, the import of playing with spaciousness in the body is it seems to soften the ways we strongly contain, hold, or create boundaries. It gives us a way to play with boundedness. So we play with space. You know, the flip side of that is we're playing with boundaries. And so I'll ask you, just as you're seated, as you're sensing your breath in your body, sometimes this will come up, that breath can feel compartmentalized. Or we're breathing up to a certain point and it may feel like there's just like a wall or a degree of containment. So I'm asking you to perceive, is there a sense of boundary that you're able to attune to? It might be the boundary of your skin, the boundary of your imagination. We'll often take our boundaries as being real. So sometimes I'll ask us things that sound quite unrealistic, like breathing through our skin, breathing into an area that's not our lungs. Our breath work today will be a series of gradual, increasingly lengthier breaths. So we're going to take this in a 1-to-2 ratio. We'll start off with 4, 8, and then when we feel comfortable, we'll grow that to 5 in, 10 out. Maybe after a round or two, that starts to feel manageable. 6, 12, 7, 14, you get the idea. But gradual incremental shifts It doesn't matter how many breaths you spend with 5 in, 10 out. It doesn't matter if we progress quickly as possible. That doesn't matter. Just you're waiting for that right moment when it's like, I think I can increase this one count. And then we go 6-12. And we just wait with that 6-12 ratio. And when that feels right, you're like, oh, I want to explore 7-14, then we go 7-14. Okay? We'll start 4, 8. That's 4 in, 8 out. Make sense? All right, here we go. Now, it may be enticing to skip stages, but just go one increment. I'm on to you. At a time, one increment. And yes, you can go back. So if you start to work at 7:14 and you want to step to 6:12, absolutely. I think it's really important that our pranayama can have this ebb and flow, that we allow it to kind of increase, decrease, increase, decrease. And I think we will find there's a kind of cyclical nature, a little increase met by a little decrease. A couple more steps, more expansive, and maybe we take a step back as a reprieve. I'll just finish the round that we're on, and we'll do about 2 more rounds. And just noting what that feels like when we create a bit of a container of breath. Right? We've formalized it. We've given it a structure. There's parameters so that we can notice something. Maybe I feel a little welling up of tension in one particular part of the cadence. Or an anticipation builds for the next part of the cadence. All right. And then let's set up for a seated spinal twist. So we'll go left leg on the ground and the sole of right foot crosses over. Ooh. Right side. Your left elbow can hook around or hook over the thigh, your pleasure. And then Amy, with the right hand, when you fingertip the ground, imagine there's a jar and turn the jar tightly, like righty-tighty, and let that righty-tighty turn help move the head of the right shoulder back. Yep. And then push down so the shoulder slides down away from your neck. It came forward a little bit. Just the head of the shoulder will kind of glide. There you go. Hold that. Now you're going to breathe while you hold those shoulder parameters. Aha. So connecting to our Ujjayi breath. Feel for that upliftment through the chest bones, under the sternum. Now, as we move into the twist, we'll start to feel with each next breath, there can be this quality of containment. Right? And I'm asking us to feel the containment, not to just feel limited, but it's helpful to know where our boundaries are as we're playing with them, as we're expanding them, as they grow momentarily malleable. And so as you take these next 2 breaths into your twist, where does the boundary move? Where is it pliable? Where is it rigid? Where is it permeable? Where does it hemorrhage? Where does it leak? Release. Inhale, unwind. Now when we switch sides, I've got another little detail for you, Amy. Okay, so everyone, unless your name is Amy, you just hook in, we'll get this twist going. And then Amy, go like so. Take your right hand and go through. And you see how I've got fingertips up and palm facing, turn your palm the other way. Oh, pardon me, now I see. There you go, perfect, palm away. And you'll pull with the back of your hand. So you're pulling your elbow back, you're pulling the head of your shoulder back, and that's how you'll work this twist. Okay, but not here. Pull the whole head of the shoulder back. There you go. There you go. So you'll feel those armpit muscles, you'll feel the, good. Sometimes as we're adjusting and working with our shoulders, it's really helpful to feel the back of the body, the back of the shoulder blade, the lats. Sometimes I can literally like put bones in a better feeling place. And so as I'm kind of drawing that right hand into my leg, inhale, lift the chest forward and upward. Yeah. Yeah, and I'd just keep gently pinching up that back of armpit crease and keep pulling the elbow further back. There you go. There you go. I hope that feels good. It looks like a nice thing. This is a nice alternate move, those of you working with rotator cuff injuries. This is a nice way to get into your twists without stretching those places that may have become torn or injured. So know that there's ways to contract and work our twists. Okay. All right, release, inhale, unwind. Your forearm might be buzzing with heat. And let's set up for dolphin. We'll do palms up today. So when you got elbows under shoulders, we'll place forearms out in front, palms up. Once in a while, I'll like to stick something between my palms or my wrists, just so that distance doesn't shrink. Entirely optional. Open up the hands broadly. Inhale, pushing those forearms down. Exhale, curling the toes under. Press the knees off the ground. Soften through the neck. Now as you're pushing the backs of those forearms into the earth, can you feel your breath spreading into the backs of your armpits? So getting your breath as broad as your rib cage at the least. Good. Press. There you go. Now, we may not consider the boundary of our breath, but when we deepen our breath, again, there's another neuropsychological boundary that we get to play with. So consider in these final 3 breaths, breathe much more deeply or expansively than you typically would. And it's just as a play in what we're accustomed to, or boundaried, or contained to usually do. There you go. Mm-hmm. Great. Let's gently set the knees down, take some rest, and we'll lie on back. we'll be working a variation of elbow to knee that looks like tree pose. We'll be planting one foot in the inner thigh so that we can get some inner leg involvement. I'll talk us through. Let's start with the feet off the ground. Inhale, float the head and shoulders off the ground. And pause right here. A little abdominal pressure keeps the back down, keeps the sacrum down. And now exhale, send the left leg out. Scoop up the right foot. You can use your hand. Plant it. And now press, squeeze, turn on that inner left leg and outreach. Draw low belly down, away from your right heel. Good. Inhale, let that up. Knees over hips. Curl tailbone. Exhale, right leg reaches out. Left hand can scoop up that left foot, plant it. Now press, squeeze, turn on that inner right leg. Pull the low belly down away from your left heel, reaching that right leg out. Good. Inhale, bend that right knee, letting up. We'll do a few more. Curling tailbone, exhale, left leg reaches, right foot plant. Grab it, plant it, engage that inner left leg. So I have to press and it's like I'm pushing with my muscles. I'm pushing my footprint out of my leg, reaching out, pulling low belly down. There you go, that's it. Inhale, let that up. Curling tailbone, exhale, right leg reaches, left foot plant, press, right leg engages, reach out through that engaged right leg. So you're sending it away from the sacrum, pull low belly down. We'll do two more on each side. Here we go. Inhale, let that up. Curling tailbone. Exhale, left leg out. Right foot plants. Get that left leg to engage. There's a little pull low belly down. Good. Inhaling. Curling tailbone. Exhale, right leg reaches, left foot plants. Press it in. Press that right leg out. Pull low belly down. Last one on each side on your own. Good, and then rest when you're through. Good. We'll do one round of frog lifting through. So let's set that up, feet off the ground, knees bent, and we'll go legs apart. With the hands behind head, it will inhale, float the head and the shoulder blades up. Exhaling, I outreach through the legs. Feel all the way to the soles of the feet, almost like you're pressing down on ground. Draw the low belly down. Good. Inhaling. We allow that tailbone to soften or relax down. And let's continue. We'll do 5 more. Let's do those 5 more on our own. Please. can get really dynamic with breath. Mm-hmm. There you go. Mm-hmm. There you go. And just be sure that when you feel complete, you just help your legs out of this setup with your hands. It's just a nice exit. Now we'll set up bridge from here. So you might like your block nearby. You got one? Good. Reach down with the fingertips, skim the heels, the feet hip width apart. Also, the feet in parallel. And exhaling, let's shift that tailbone toward the sky. The buttock lifts, the spine lifts, leading the thigh bones forward, away from my nose, reaching them forward. You can apply the block at any time. I'm just choosing to do so now, where I'll place the block under the sacrum. This can be done without the block, but it can be some nice support. And you might try this out, Amy. You might like to take your arms directly to the sides of your body like a T, like the letter T. And just as you're practicing feeling and growing that breath into the front of the rib cage, it will at the least give you a feeling sense of the rib cage, the arm bone, and feeling or lifting the rib cage ahead of the arm bone. I hope that makes sense given what we were chatting about. And locking the hip, steadying ourselves in our right foot. Inhale, pick that left foot up, crossing left ankle over right thigh. Now the weight across the shoulder blades remains the same. So if all of your weight shifted into one shoulder blade, just take note of that. Get a little more 50-50. Now inhaling into your abdomen, your pelvis. Exhaling, gently reach that left thigh bone away from your right collarbone. And for you and me, I want you to emphasize lifting, 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 lifting the chest toward the sky, toward your face. To really getting that arch through the mid and the upper back. That's just being able to get those spine bones in the upper back moving and articulating plays into how the shoulder will kind of hang from the rib cage. So a lot of shoulder work, if we want to call that shoulder work, is feeling into the rib cage, getting the rib cage moving, dynamic, breathing. All right, here's the other side. Inhale, we'll set that left foot down. And as you do, there's rather even weight distribution across the shoulder blades. And that even weight distribution maintains as we cross our right ankle over left thigh. So once you hook that over, check that out. The shoulders, the shoulder blades, the backs of your shoulders bear even amounts of weight. Getting that to happen is core. It's not really a muscle you can activate, but it's more of how we interpret our environment and organize ourselves accordingly. There you go. Let's take one more rich breath into that right hip socket. There you go. Yeah, keep letting go. Here you go. Yes, yes, yes. And release. We'll set that right foot down to ground. Yes. When your feet are planted, please press the pelvis away from block that you may have used. Move it aside. Shifting that tailbone toward the sky, begin your descent, bringing the spine down to the ground. All right. Turn onto a side. Let's press up. We'll use a little bit of wall. If you have a hard floor surface, you might like a little bit of the mat underneath the ball mounts of your feet. Recall, little stuff. I'm going to raise the heels up, working this handstand prep. So when I raise my heels up, I'm using the wall to support me. I'm bringing the feet as close together as possible. And then we'll do something like so. Okay. So it will be a little demanding on the calves, perhaps. Your heels may touch or may even rest on the wall. The big thing here will be getting the inner ankles moving more toward each other than away from each other. And some people will have that ability to just touch the feet together. That's fine if you do. Squeeze right here. Squeeze. Squeeze. Squeezy. Squeezy, squeezy. Now push right through there. Push there. There it is. Yeah, exactly. So you're kind of pushing through. Squeeze me here. Good. Push. Push. Yep. Keep squeezing and push. Yeah. Push. There it is. Deep breath. As you really have to shift that tailbone, and rest, of course, so you don't get booted off the wall. All right, that's probably plenty. Step away from the wall. We'll work this incrementally so you can bring your mat over there. That's perfect. Yeah. So we'll be working half handstand at a time. So all of that inner leg stuff, right? Engaging this inner left leg, pressing through that ball of foot, that kidney point, that inner ankle will help us access handstands at some point. Okay. I'm taking this from downward dog at the wall. And I'll just show you briefly and I'll talk us in. Remember how we step our feet up hip height. Now the leg move is just 1 foot at a time, engaging that inner thigh, pressing up through the ball of the foot. In fact, I'm working this. Just kind of put these real close together here. I'm working this really no different than this move. That's how much oomph I'm putting through that leg. So I'll talk us in. Heels near the wall, several inches, few inches. Hands under shoulders, exhale first into downward dog. Good, relaxing the neck. And when you're ready, inhale, step a foot onto the wall. Exhale, we'll step the other foot onto the wall. You can go a little higher, Andrew. There you go. All right, choose one leg and we'll reach it, not as far as we can, just vertically, just so we get the sense of it's over my head. Now inhale into your low abdomen and pelvis, and as you exhale, find that inner leg, connect into it, through it, press all the way. Yep, that ball of foot, go ahead, using that inner ankle. Yep, you can use that inner ankle like you're tweezing me in. Now press up through that inner foot. Push that in, here you go, push that inner foot away from your head. That's it. Go ahead, push that inner foot away from your head. You can press me as much as you want. Good, and go, yep, that's the straight up. There you go. Now I'm going to slow release, so you got your inner leg. Switch sides, so we'll bring that one leg to ground, to wall. Other side. Yeah. And so that leg that's vertically reaching, it's not a vacant or a do-nothing leg. We're Go ahead, you can give me just a little touch squeeze, and then press that foot away from your head, straight up. Straightening the knee. Straightening the knee. There you go. Good, straight up. There it is, there it is. Good, you can raise that left sit bone up. And we'll set that foot down, exiting. You want to do an actual handstand?
I was like, that feels harder.
Well, good. Then it's good priming. So we'll move back away from the wall. As we're discussing over here, that just might be harder than an actual handstand. We'll stand at the top. Okay. And then Amy, you don't have to raise your arms that much, or you can take them through that bird wing, like so. Like this can be the degree of your elevation when I say reach the arms up, you might just squeeze the back creases of the armpits to here. That might be your move. Okay. So let's begin our sons. Inhale, reaching the arms up. If you're taking a different shoulder care today, we can make up really therapeutic, helpful moves. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, step the left foot back. We'll set the knee down. We'll do some bird wing. Bird wing. I've got my elbows close to my ribs touching. My palms are up. So when I do this bird wing, let me see if this is evident to you. I've got a dark shirt on. I'm not squeezing my shoulders forward like a C, kind of this arch forward. I'm squeezing the back creases of my armpit. So that's more like would that be vex instead of concave chest? Does it make sense? So I inhale my ribs into my armpits. Exhaling, cinch, contract the armpit muscles, like you're squeezing your arm bone toward your ribs, finessing the contraction into the back of the armpit, and I almost intone like I'm pulling my chest forward. That's how I use my back muscles. There you go. And then I'll let up as I inhale. Kind of slink those elbows and those shoulders down. So when I exhale and I contract, I'm almost imagining I'm pulling on like a rail. I'm pulling something closer to my chest. I'm pulling my chest closer to something. I'll do another inhale, let up on that squeeze. And exhale, squeeze the armpit muscles. Start, Brett, with the arms more in front. It's gonna be right here. And when you squeeze, they might move a little bit, but they're probably not gonna move like 90 degrees. They're probably not. Yeah, now get that's cinched. Just take another breath here, you got it. Good, and when you get the squeeze, pull the shoulders down away from your neck and just finesse the contraction to the back of the armpit. That's probably more contractile in those armpit muscles. Good. Let's release that. Inhale, hands to ground. Exhale, we'll step that right foot back and we'll lower. And Amy, actively pull the back of your hand toward your shoulder. So I'm actively pulling my body to the ground instead of letting my body to the ground. Does that make sense? Okay. Cobra. Inhale, pull with the hands. I pull elbows toward the back of the mat and feel each armpit. Feel the backs of each shoulder, the fronts of each shoulder. Exhaling, lower down, downward dog. Lunge with bird wing. Inhale the left foot forward. I'll set the right knee down and I'll bring the palms up. Here we go again. Okay. It's very, very challenging to create really full contractions. It does. It takes a lot of nerve juice. It takes a lot of mind-muscle connection. But here we are. We're gonna turn it on. Inhale the ribs into the arms. Exhale, squeeze the arms into the ribs. Finesse that contraction to the back. Keep squeezing. Hold on to the squeeze. Good. Let's do 2 more, just like so. Sometimes it's helpful for me to imagine someone's almost massaging my shoulders back, so that the squeeze has an equivalency of broadening the chest. That's it. Yeah, that looks a lot nicer on the neck, Amy. That shoulder position looks like it serves the neck nicely. There we go. Great. Inhale, we'll set hands to the ground. Exhaling, step feet back. And as we lower actively, pull the elbows, pull the knuckles toward the sky. Cobra. Inhale, elevate the chest a little bit, pull the elbows toward the back of the mat. If I pull the elbows toward the back of the mat, my shoulders necessarily get drawn back. Exhale, keep pulling as you lower down. Inhale, hands under the chest. Oh, this is interesting. Do you mind playing with me here a second? Just remain right here. You've got your hands set. Now, keeping the palms on the ground, lift your elbows toward the sky as high as you can. Keep going, toward the sky. Keep going. There you go. You're going to press from there. Deep inhale. And now exhale, press back, downward dog. There you go. Good. Pyramid. Inhale, right foot forward. If you like blocks, grab them. Pyramid, straight-legged stance, forward fold. Right foot forward, left leg back. Now, where we had been squeezing those backs of armpits, play with me. Breathe into those exact areas. The back shoulder blade, armpit area. Okay. So when we enact these contractions, these actions, there's a demand. There's a blood demand. There's a demand for materials, oxygen, blood. And then as that work, that action is released, there's actually this moment in that rest phase, that non-action phase. There can be this perfusion as the tissues relax, that blood and that material demand are supplied. There can be this profusion of nutrients into the area. So these are really cool ways of creating an almost pump-like system of drawing, moving, circulating blood, nutrients, oxygen, energy in and through the body into new places. Easy, twisting warrior. Bend the right knee, inhale. Sliding or stepping that left foot back. Now I'm taking my hands off of blocks, leaving left hand down. Exhaling, right arm up. So here's this T. Other way, Amy. Other leg. The right leg forward, left hand down. There you go. Now imagine for a moment, kind of like that bird wing, as if we were pulling a giant rubber band apart. Right across our chest. We're just taking this big old rubber band, we're just pulling it back. There you go, Brett. That's it. Keep going. Good. Yes. Now, that was part one. Now push the hands apart and feel the shoulder blades gliding ever so slightly apart. So I'm simultaneously drawing the hands back, almost like knuckle to knuckle, behind my back. Huge breath. So again, we can play with these boundaries. I can go a little bigger than the containment of this pose, the parameters of, right, there you go. There we go. Let's take one more. And inhale, bring that right hand down to the ground. Exhaling, we'll step right foot back. Lowering by pulling the elbows toward the sky, pulling the knuckles closer to the torso. I'm pulling the earth to my chest. There you go. Cobra. Inhale, pull the elbows toward the back of your mat. Feel the shoulders slide down. There you go. Exhale, lower down. Reset the hands. Palms are on the ground. Lift the elbows toward the sky. And now push from that place. Push back into downward dog. Hopefully use a little more chest muscle that way. Let's do that pyramid on the other side. Inhale, left foot forward. So pyramid, both legs straightened, forward fold, blocks optional. Now, once we start to identify those ways, those places in our body that we experience boundary, the boundary created by our rib cage, the boundary of our skin, or maybe there's a kind of a more energetic compartmentalization we're sensitive to. But once we start to feel, oh, that's the shape of that boundary, now we can start to be a little active with it. What if I breathe right up next to that boundary? What if I feel my breath moving into that boundariedness? What if my breathing moves right through that boundary as if it's permeable, like a screen or chain link fence, a gauze, cobweb? As we start to move our breath back and forth, in and out, through these boundaries, the perception of these boundaries. Now what? Easy twisting warrior. We'll bend the left knee. Inhaling, we'll also step that right foot back a little bit. Okay, so the left foot is forward, the right hand is down. Exhaling, draw the left arm toward the sky. Now, the way I use my hand on the ground, Amy, can just be one more iteration of that bird wing-like move. So I'll almost pull on the ground like I'm pulling the ground away from my left foot. Let's see if we can make some. That's it. You feel those shoulder blades, those back muscles. Good. So just keep doing that. It's like, just try to say it another way, like I'm pulling my hand or pulling the ground away from my left foot. That's it. And it should turn the chest open as it is. That's cool. Yeah, Brett, yeah. Now, when you push those arms apart, Brett, what do you feel around the collarbone? There's this whole landscape between the spinal cord, the head of the shoulder, the end of the collarbone. Feel the breath in that space. I'm with you. I'm with you. Yeah. Let's get steady for one more breath. Getting really steady. That's a cool spot. Yes, wide, deep, heartful breath. Yeah. That's cool. Inhale, set that left hand down. Exhaling, step the left foot back with lower all the way down. Cobra. So where I place my hands, of course, will influence my shoulder. So if I want to situate my arm bones a little further back along my rib cage, I might try pulling my hands a little closer to my chest. So right here, I'll just keep them nice and close, pulling the elbows back, pulls the shoulders away from the neck. Inhale, using those upper back muscles. Lift your chest, pulling the elbows back, pulling thumb away from thumb. Exhaling, lower down, downward dog. Revolve pyramid. Inhale, right foot forward. Now, I like a block for this. So I'm going left hand on block. I've got my pyramid stance, that's straight-legged stance. But instead of folding forward, I'm going to set my hand position so that I can reach my sit bones back. Okay. And now I draw the right arm up. So even though this left hand is planted against surface, I can do that pulling apart motion. I'm pulling the left hand away from the right foot. There you go. Reaching the sit bones away from the head. You can get those legs in there. Yes, there it is. Now connect to deep breath. Right? I know it's one of those, it's kind of funny, like why would I want to feel the ways, the sensation of limitation? Why would I want to feel boundary or limitation? Okay? Feel the boundary so that we can access the intelligence, the energy of the boundary. A boundary is a highly intelligent entity. We're not just disrupting boundaries, we're learning, oh, this is the setup. This is how you contain. This is how you're shaped. This is what you're holding. Now we start to interface with our breath. So we want to feel the boundary as respect before we just start to have our way with it, right? Inhale, bring that right hand down, twisting pigeon. So we'll set the left knee down. We'll walk the right foot across the mat. And we'll lie the shin down. Okay. Now, twisting pigeon, I'm going to move my hands over toward the right side of the mat. That would be my step one. Just move the hands over. Step two, if you're feeling up for it, you can hook your left elbow against your thigh. Now, I just happen to have a wall here, and I like that for my twisting pigeon toward the thigh. Okay? If you don't have a wall, you just have to put your hands on the ground. A boundary, or our perception of a limit, is not a shortcoming, right? Boundaries are intelligence. It's just, they've been formalized, they've been educated to hold a particular something in a particular way. It's just a particular formation of energy. I find that as long as I bring a sincere attitude of respect, reverence, interest to a boundary, I can more often than not learn it. There you go. Yeah. It's so dynamic. There you go. Oh, and we'll take about one more deep Ujjayi breath under the heart, under that left side lung. Inhale, walk hands under shoulders. Ooh, move smoothly, move carefully. Exhaling, until we tuck that heel in, we'll press back, downward dog. Inhaling, step, left foot forward, revolved pyramid. We're taking the other side. So the pyramid stance is straight-legged, left foot forward. But instead of folding all the way, I'll use a block, elevating the right hand. So I can feel, oh, my sit bones, they reach back. They can reach back. When you're ready, draw the left arm up. Now I'm using that block under my right hand, or ground if you're really flexible. But I'm using that surface and pulling, as if pulling the earth away from my left foot. There you go, Brett. That's it. Go ahead, deepen breath. Find the boundary. Boundary is not a shortcoming. It's just a formality. It's a way we've formed. Mm-hmm. Reach straight up, left arm. And inhale, bring that left hand down. And if I'm not missing anything, we're going right to that twisting pigeon. If I'm missing something, just show me. Okay. All right. So for a twisting pigeon toward the thigh, we can approach it is by bringing our hands over onto the left side of the mat. And some of us will get that right elbow hooked over the left thigh. Yeah, there you go. There's some wall action. And that's sweet how that there you go. Breathe all the way out to my hands. Breathe all the way. There it is. Cool. Releasing. Inhale, unwind smoothly, carefully. Exhaling, we get those hands under the shoulders, press back smoothly. All right. Ease your way to standing, however you like to do that. Walking forward, walking hands back, but just have a stand, have a rest moment. Do one more item with the wall, and it'll be the handstand of your choosing. So if you're kicking up into handstand, this is a moment for you. You can also work our handstand prep. We'd done this earlier. Okay. We've worked a downward dog on the wall, one leg up, and by up I mean vertical, not in splits, not apart. You can work that option again. And one other, you could work vertical splits on the wall as a handstand alternative today. So just a reminder, if I were playing vertical splits here, okay, it's really like I'm raising my leg as if to step or kick up, and I'm letting that foot rest or barely rest. That allows me to use my hands to push. Okay, so I've just kind of barely got my toe. It's just the wall is not letting my leg drop past a certain altitude. Right? So lots of variations. We've got handstand. If you're kicking up in a handstand, kick up in a handstand. We've got the handstand prep. You can do that a second time. The downward dog on the wall, one leg up, a second time. You can do vertical splits as a handstand alternate. Let's do one. Yeah, and then use those legs. You can reach them up one at a time. There you go. Right, get those inner legs, those inner ankles. Nice slow motion, Brett. There you go. Come on back when you feel complete with your wall stuff. Create a little relief moment for the hands. Inhale, reach the hands away from the shoulders. So I'm flexing, I'm kind of pulling my fingernails toward my shoulder. And then exhaling, reaching out. And keep the hand, yeah, exactly, Amy, low like you have it. Curling the fingers in. So I'm individuating those movements. I got strong fists. Push the knuckles away from your ears. And then pull, really pull those knuckles away from the top of your shoulder. I'm just going to hang out a second because one wrist feels remarkably different than the other wrist. So I think that's worth just hanging out with. All right, inhale, open up the hands. And exhale, reach out through little finger, next finger, middle finger, index thumb, make a fist. Pull knuckles down away from the ears. I'm just going to hold this strong fist, knuckles pulling back, deep breath. You can pull the knuckles down even more like, mm-hmm. And release. Let's do one item for the forearm, for the neck. Is reaching those fingertips away from the collar, the top of the shoulder. Just leading that head away from that outreached arm. Okay, we're going to do a little move here. So it looks like we've got our right hand outreaching. This is good. I'm going to intone that jar lid screw. The right hand would be righty-tighty. So I'm going to tighten the jar lid, or start to turn my thumb toward the sky, my forefingers toward the earth. And release. Now if we do the left hand, I reach my fingertips away from left ear. I can tip the head away from that outreached arm. And for the left hand, it's like lefty-loosey, or if I have a jar lid, I'm going counterclockwise. Thumb to sky, forefingers toward earth. And release. Let's lie back for Shavasana. Now, if you had identified a way that you were perceiving a boundary in your person, would you be willing to check in and notice and feel that again? So you're feeling with your breath how solid or transparent that boundary feels, that shape feels. Is there a porousness to it? Does breath move to it like a wall or through it like a screen? Does that boundary feel imaginal? Is it non-existent? as you're playing with this boundary, can we also play with the boundary of our skin? So we're familiar with our skin boundary. It's the basis for much of how we start to learn social conduct and interaction. We can start to breathe in and right through the skin. And when you're ready, we'll bend knees. Turn to a side. And let's use both hands pressed to seated. Namaste.